大家好, it's time for the week 4 recap of Project Wushu52. Are you ready? Let's do this. Can you believe January is already gone? It feels like we just started this journey and I had all the time in the world. And now we are 4 weeks and 1 month further along to the finish line. It's amazing. Before we look at the specifics for this past week, let's talk about the two things I said I would be focusing on: mobility training and sleep. So for the mobility training, I did pretty well. I did it on all except for I think 1 or 2 days, which is much better than the week before. The first day I didn't do it on was Monday, but that's actually before I recorded last week's recap, so I hadn't actually made that decision quite yet. And the other day was either Thursday or Friday, I forget which one, but it was because the night before I had stayed up late working to finish up a project. And speaking of staying up late, sleep. Now, I had wanted to make sure that I get to sleep earlier and get up earlier so that I can maintain a really good schedule. And for the most part, I actually did that, aside from that one day where I stayed up until like 3 in the morning working on some stuff for my second job. For the most part, I was able to get to bed around 10:30, maybe by midnight at the very latest on 1 or 2 days. But that's much better than the previous week where I was going to bed at like 2 or 3 in the morning for many of the days. And I was able to get up around 6 on several days as well, which is great. I think it will take me probably a couple more weeks, maybe mid-February, until my circadian rhythms kind of figure out what I'm doing and get back in sync. And definitely I want to keep maintaining this sleep schedule going forward. But let's talk about week 5's plan a little bit later. This week, I got in my 2 Wushu trainings and I got in my 2 strength trainings, which is great. On Tuesday, January 25th, I went to the local park down the street. I'm pretty sure I'm going to regret this, but I'm about to train on a full stomach. Well, not super full, but I ate not too long ago. Look at that. Sunset. So go down to the park, see what happens. And it was really the best training so far. I was even able to do a couple kicks on the other foot, which was great. I couldn't maintain that. It was kind of twingy, but it was nice to know that I was getting closer to being able to do that. Let's take a look at the video while I'm talking and I'll explain what happened. So like I said, it started to feel like an actual Wushu training. I went through the initial stretching and getting ready. I actually felt much looser than I normally have, so that was a big improvement for me. You can see here I'm doing different types of stretches against the rock wall. And then I got into my standing basics. I did the punches, then I did the palms, I did vertical punches, and then I did the ready position. I was able to actually do it with my feet together before the ankle would inhibit that ability. Then I did my palm flashes and head snaps. Did them up above as well. And then I did the 3 punch palm hook combo, followed by some tiger claw, Nanchuan basics, butterfly palms, and stuff like that. And my kicks felt pretty good too. It started to feel like an actual Wushu training. And that's not to say I'm not actually doing Wushu, but you know the feeling when you're in a Wushu class and you're training, and yeah, it's starting to feel more like that, and less like I was walking uphill in a downward facing blizzard. So my front stretch kick went pretty well. My inside kick went pretty well too. Overall, all my kicks were feeling much stronger than they have in the past. I even got a slap there. The outside kick, not too bad. You can see that I'm doing the Wushu pant leg. I don't know why, but it just makes it feel better. Front snap kick, I'm able to hold the foot out just a little bit better than before and not feel it in the ankle quite as much. Same with the palm heel. This is the Nanchuan side kick, kind of like a weird low roundhouse. And then I did the Danpai Jiao, the front slap kick. And then the continuous front slap, which on one leg doesn't work as well. Then I got into some stance work. My stances were a little bit better, a little more solid this time. I'm able to hold them for a little bit longer. Just, you know, that 1 to 5% improvement each time. I started with the mabu against the pole, and then I would move myself forward so that I was doing a actual more close to a real mabu. I did the gongbu as well. And then I was doing some empty stance, just sort of holding and trying to get my leg stronger. And then some high stance holding and losing of balance. And I even did a little bit of pubu. It's tricky on the right side because of that ankle. But if I ease into it, I can get a decently not terrible pubu. Towards the end, I started getting pretty tired, but I think it's because I put a lot of effort into the beginning part and probably overextended my energy levels. I definitely need to pace myself going forward. I'm definitely getting stronger. I can feel it. My endurance is better. Range of motion, strength, stability, all much better now. Take a quick break before I do my technique work. Can you see the sweat? Oh, starting to sprinkle. Better hurry. So here I did my technique work, Nampai Jiao with the Ulum Panda and the slap the leg, which should be the ground, but I can't do Pubu yet. Really focusing on trying to pivot that hip around when I do that. Can't really do the Pubu Chunjang yet, but I'm sure I'm saying that totally wrong. Pretend this is a back sweep. But again, it's just about practicing the technique, remembering how it moves, things like that. So some more practice of different techniques and combos that I've come up with. And then it was moving on to a walkthrough of the Nanchuan form, the old compulsory. The walkthrough felt better than the one I did before. If you compared them side by side, which I'm not going to do, you'll be able to see that this one is a little bit stronger, a little bit faster, slightly more power, slightly better stances. So just overall, slightly improving as I move forward. The mechanics of the movement are there. I've done this form so many times that I think, like I said last week, I could do this in my sleep. But I feel like overall, if I had healthy knees and my body was fit and I had good range of motion, my overall technique on this would be pretty good. But it's just getting my stances back and my flexibility improved. That will really kind of push it over the edge to be a suitably decent looking Nanchuan form. Here I am in the second section doing the butterfly palms. There's a yellow right there. There's a guy playing basketball nearby, so I wasn't gonna do my Nanchuan yells. I never turned my hips enough with that first punch and that 2-punch combo after the kick. Need to work on that. My guagai is so-so, the overhand thing, that right there. Because I have sort of a rotator cuff issue on my right side, that's kind of an old injury, I tend to be pretty careful about that one, and it swings out a little bit wide. And that's it, that's the form. Not too shabby. Still lots of room for improvement though. After that I did a little bit of stretching as well. And then I also talked to the camera for a little bit. It was a good workout. It wasn't too crazy, but it was better than last time. I'm just aiming to get like 1% better each time I come out here. So this was definitely at least 1% better than Sunday. Today's Tuesday. And yeah, it's a process.
I think it speaks for itself. You can see what I did. Today felt really good. I felt really loose. I was even able to do a few kicks on the left side. Hey, there's a frog. Take a look. But it felt good. I felt loose, much better than before. My ankle's slowly getting better. I think this is actually helping work some of that gunk out of the joint. It still hurts. It's still hard to put lateral pressure on the joint, so I'm very careful. But overall, it's improving, and I feel a lot better than I did. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. I'm really happy with how it went today.
So then originally my plan was to do strength training on Wednesday, but it ended up being Thursday because of that aforementioned work thing. So I did it in the evening at home, watched a video of that. It wasn't the best, but at least I got it done. And while I was kind of tired by that time of the evening, at least I did it. And that's the most important thing, is showing up to do the work. Like I said before, the most important thing for me is consistency, not scale. So I just want to show up and do some work each time I say I'm going to do it. And if I can do that, then I'm building the habit. And you can always scale up a habit over time. So you can see here I did some tibialis raises, I did some calf raises, a couple sets of each, and then here I'm doing a little bit of work to kind of strengthen up the VMO on the quads. And here's sort of an assisted split squat. I can't really go very low yet, so I'm doing it elevated, and I'm sort of holding on to the bar for stability just because the ankle isn't so great. Here I'm doing sort of like a, I forget what these are called. Usually you'll hold dumbbells when you do them. And then this is knee raises to work the hip flexors, to strengthen it up and get some blood flow in there. Then of course I stuck my thing on the door there and the cat came in. And then I used the TRX type of things to, the monkey bands to do the pulling exercise and then the kind of pushing exercise. I like this because it gives a really good range of motion. And then I don't know why the camera was off over here, but I did some sort of like bench pressy kind of things, but they're sort of down. And then you can't see my legs, but I'm doing leg lifts here. So just, pretend I'm really doing that. And then these are kind of like oblique core turning things with this sort of band thing. I didn't end up doing the battle ropes or kettlebell swings towards the end of the workout, but I was able to get through the main training itself. And I am noticing that my legs and my knees are starting to feel a little bit stronger, and just overall I can tell that it's making a difference. Then on Saturday morning I went to Moana Park. Usually Saturday mornings at the park I'm meeting up with a couple other Wushu friends and we just kind of go through some basics and form practice, or rather I stand there and watch and critique them while they do it. These are actually friends I used to coach at the Hawaii Wushu Center, and they asked to sort of do just an impromptu, informal training on Saturday mornings at the park. So we were doing that for a while, but the holidays came, schedules got rearranged, there was an Omicron variant, so we haven't really met since December. And even though no one showed up, that's fine. I was still going to do my training anyway. On Saturday though, my foot was flaring up pretty bad and the inflammation moved into the main part of my foot. I could do all the standing bases okay and some of the stances, but once I got to the kicks, it wouldn't work. And I tried to do Atlantic kicks and I could tell it was not good, and that if I kept going, it would have caused more issues. So I stopped. Again, it's all about showing up to do the work. Even if I don't get as much work done as I would like to, at least I was there and I started and I did some stuff. You can see from the way my foot is angled that there's definitely something going on there. I'm kind of a little bit toed out anyway, just naturally, but my right foot angles much more. But I started off with some just kind of warming up and stretching, moving around, getting things hopefully mobile to some degree, stretching the legs as usual. Stretching out the shoulders. And here you can really see how I'm walking funny. I did the standing basics, the ready position, the head snap again, as the usual, on the top, other side, and the 3-hand combo. I definitely feel like that's getting a little bit snappier overall. Representing the Wushu Adventures t-shirt. And then I did some punches. Again, getting a little bit stronger, I feel like. Even though foot was hurting, I think my striking power is improving. Got some nanchuan. More nanchuan. And even more nanchuan. And then some more hobbling. And I think this is where I was doing the stance work. So this is kind of stretching out my mabu first, and then I actually was doing holding. I would hold for as long as I could, then I'd get up, move over a little bit, and hold it again. Just kind of put my arms out to get the balance and keep my back as straight as I could make it, which isn't much. Then from there I went into bow stance, just holding bow stance. I can't hold it on the other side, but do what I can. It's definitely working my legs. As you can see, they're getting a little sore. And then I wanted to do one so I could get a side angle just to kind of see how my right thigh was doing, if it was parallel or not. It's not parallel to the ground, but I think it's getting better than it was. Then I did some empty stance and high stance practices and balances. Again, hip flexor really needs to get some work. And then I did some warm-up kicks, and you're going to see me kind of flinch and definitely feeling the pain right there. I was really trying to see if I could even make it work or not. But after this first round of French stretch kick, I could tell by the time I got towards the camera that it just wasn't going to work. So I had to call it a day on the kicks. So after I got home, since I wasn't able to do as much at the park as I wanted to, I decided to work on something that didn't require my legs. Since I got the new wraps for my nandao, I went ahead and redid the grips for my nandao, and I practiced some sword basics. I did 50 flowers on each side, I did 50 reverse flowers on each side, I did wraps on the right side 30 times, I did 30 stabs, and then after that I was unable to click my mouse or even make a fist, so I knew I had done my job. I'm definitely going to incorporate more weapons basics into my at-home training. My grip strength really needs some help. And when my legs are better, I could do some nangun basics too. It's hard to use the nangun because there's so much core and grounding of your stances with a lot of the nangun basics. So I want to make sure that my legs are stable before I start doing those. And then finally, Sunday morning at home, I got up at like 6:30 or so and actually did my strength training. This time I used my new Amazon Basics weight sled thingy, and I did 5 rounds on the grass outside with the 40-pound kettlebell inside it. Surprisingly, it was really challenging. By the end of it, my hips and my glutes were completely burning. It was surprising how effective it was. And overall, the strength training went really well. I'm kind of getting into a rhythm now. So it's a lot of the same exercises. I do the same ones every time, just to work on the same things. But yeah, you got the tibialis raises, you got the calf raises, got the sit downs, working that VMO muscle again. Got the split squats, really trying to get the assisted work on that leg. Range of motion, bent over curl thingies, knee raises again, working on the hip flexor muscle. Got the pulling exercises, and we've got the pushing exercises. Oh, not very steady though. Need to work on that. And we got the oblique turning core thingies on both sides, of course. And the battle ropes, which I was actually able to do a set of, even though I was pretty wiped out from the bag pulling thing. And then I did some leg lift core work as well. Let's take a look at what needs improvement. Number one is just keeping to the schedule. I did alter a couple things just by a day or so, but I would like to maintain a little more regularity. My plan is Tuesdays and Saturdays are my Wushu training, and then Wednesdays and Sundays are my strength training. The reason I do my strength training right after my Wushu training is that I want to give my body a couple of days to recover before my next Wushu training in order to gain the benefits of the strength training. And also, if I do Wushu after I do the strength training, my muscles are kind of tired and there's a higher chance for injury there too. In the future, I'm going to talk a little bit about my hybrid training schedule that's going to happen probably starting April or May. The other thing I want to work on is consistency of my routine. And like I said, while consistency of just showing up is important, I would also like to be a little more consistent in what I do each time. And for the most part, it's not that bad. I just think I could tweak it a little bit more to just improve it that extra couple percent, especially with those 5x10 Wushu fundamental core exercises that I do. I'm not totally beating myself up over it, but I think I could do better. And the other thing I want to work on is nutrition. I think a lot of the reasons I got that flare up in my foot on Saturday is because there were a few times in the week where I didn't eat what I should have eaten. And this is a real challenge for me. You know, my relationship with food has been challenging. And you know, for the most part, I think if you're healthy and you don't have any issues, once in a while eating something that isn't as healthy isn't going to hurt you too much. As long as, you know, 75 to 90% of your food's pretty good and you're getting plenty of stuff to help detoxify from the bad stuff. But in my current situation with the joint inflammation and the autoimmune problems, it's really on me to make sure that I'm much closer to that 90-95% of clean eating. So this coming week, I'm just going to work on eating better than I ate the week before. I'm not going to really beat myself up if I eat a couple bad things, but I just want to do better than before. Just incremental improvements over time. I never really talked about what my good nutrition plan is, so maybe I'll save that for another video and another time when I talk about sort of my Wushu52 nutrition plan that I'm aiming towards as the course of the year goes forward. Okay, so that's what I'm going to work on. What went really well this week? Well, I trained again, just like last week. I actually got in my 4 trainings, 2 Wushu, 2 strength trainings. Really happy about that. I even made it to the park on Saturday morning, even though no one else showed up. That's totally fine. I was able to get in some training. And I also spent some time this week on Friday evening. I went to like a diner and kind of sat down in a booth and just sort of worked out a general framework and a more specific plan for the rest of the year. Now, there's a lot of room for flexibility in there, and it's really more about what I'm going to do in February. I planned February with the idea of where I want to be 12 months down the line, or I guess 11 months now. I won't get into the nitty-gritty of that now, but suffice it to say that involved some color-coded spreadsheets. Also this week, I'm noticing improvements in my Wushu, the strength, stability, and speed, and especially range of motion as well. I'm not sure if it's noticeable in the videos or not, but I can feel it. While I'm actually doing the strength training, it doesn't necessarily feel like I'm making progress, but then when I get back and I do Wushu again, I'm like, hey, this is better than last time. So that's really great, and it's very motivating. So this coming week, week 5, my focus is going to be on consistency of my training routine, improving my nutrition, and making sure I still keep that good sleep schedule, really aiming for that 10 to 6 range. You know, this sort of thing was never a challenge before I started working from home. Or maybe it was and I just didn't realize it. And also maintaining that daily mobility training. You know, like I said, I can't believe we're already 1 month and 4 weeks down of this Wushu52 project. And I know that the next several months are just going to keep flying by. And I hope that I keep maintaining some regular progress with this and keep seeing improvements. That would be fantastic. I think also the rate of my improvements will start to increase over time because it's like compounding interest. It builds up. So while I might be doing 1% incremental improvement now, which doesn't seem like that much based off of having 0 ability, but once I get to like a 10% ability, that 1% is much more of what I can do. So I'm really super curious to see what my Wushu will look like in another 4 weeks from now at the end of February. That will be interesting. Because if you'll recall, the first Wushu training session I did way back on January 1st, that wasn't so great. It was really challenging. And even the one I did on Maui when I started getting that inflammation, that one wasn't so great either. So since the beginning of January, I've definitely ramped up to where I am now. And I'm hoping that that continues for the next month as well. And I'm just really excited to see what happens. And if you're excited too, be sure you subscribe and like and blah, 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 all that stuff down below. And that's it for this recap. Week 4 in the books. We're done. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting this meager Wushu enthusiast in his efforts to improve, however slowly, over the next 48 weeks now. 11 months left. I appreciate all of you. I especially appreciate those who have taken the time to leave a comment below. It really means the world to me. So until next time, keep training hard. Jayo. Once again, coffee. It's because I record these in the, oh, that's good. It's because I record these in the morning, generally, and I usually drink coffee in the morning. All right, I'm done.